The Gun, the Dragon, and the Treasure. A plain talk story about ontological guilt. Start where the world likes to start, the murder shows. The narrator makes saints of victims and monsters of perpetrators. Tears for Jenny. Outrage for John. And Billy, doing 99 years, is a cautionary tale, not a mystery. Nobody asks, what kind of thought system produced Billy? That split, angel here, demon there, keeps the audience safe. It says the threat is over there. It never asks who's holding the gun inside. Now picture this scene. You're in a room, pulse up, and it looks like someone across from you is aiming a gun at your head. You swear you see it. Their hand, your fear, the whole frame. But if you widen your attention, just a touch, you notice something shocking. Your own finger is on the trigger. One mind, one gun. A trick of angles made it look like theirs. Why would the mind make that mistake? Because it hurts less to blame a brother than to face the old buried panic that I broke off from love. That's the missing link most people never say out loud. On the surface, we feel guilty about specific things. What we said, what we did, what we failed to do. But beneath the surface hums an older template. I separated from my source. I stole my life. And now the big one is going to find out. Call it ontological guilt. You don't need to use the term to know the feeling. It's the kid thought scaled to infinity. Mom's going to kill me, except the mom is God in the ego's story. A girl raids her dad's liquor cabinet. Mom says, "We'll let your father handle it." The child spends hours in dread, rehearsing punishment. Dad comes home, says he loves her, trusts she learned something, and surprise, still lets her go to the party. No thunderbolt. No exile. And yet the girl leaves the party early, heavy with guilt. The authority didn't punish. The mind carried punishment anyway. That's the ontological template showing its face. Guilt doesn't need an external sentence. It manufactures one. So when I say, eyes don't see, they translate the wishes of the mind, that's what I mean. The eyes aren't neutral cameras. They're projectors that screen the film the mind loaded. 3 earthy examples. If you've ever bought a red car and then saw red cars everywhere, that wasn't the world changing overnight. Your mind tuned the eyes to confirm what it already valued. If suspicion is running, ordinary texts read like insults. Same words, different movie running inside. If you're hungry, every billboard looks like dinner. If you're ashamed, every face looks like a judge. The eyes report what the mind wants confirmed. A guilty mind wants a guilty world, because a guilty world keeps the hidden fear intact. See, guilt is real. That's why we stare at the news, the courtroom, the comment thread. It gives the inner verdict costumes to wear. What does a look within mean? It isn't spelunking into old boxes of memory or staring at your navel. Within is the quiet place where meaning is assigned. It's that pause where you notice, my chest is tight, my jaw is clenched, I'm telling a story about betrayal. And you admit, not as sin, but as authorship. That meaning came from me. You didn't cause reality, you caused your interpretation. That's where the gun sits. Mythic language just gives pictures to this psychological fact. The ring of fire is the fear signal that spikes the instant you question guilt. The dragon is the form guilt takes today: shame, rage, unworthiness. The treasure is what's actually there, if you risk looking anyway. The memory of love that never changed. The ego swears the treasure will kill you. If you look inside, you'll light on sin and the judge will obliterate you. So you'll keep chasing safe entertainments. But when you touch the treasure, it's water. The throat relaxes. The storm stops. A few concrete scenes you can feel. Your friend forgets your birthday. The world version says, they aimed the gun, you bled. Looking within sounds like this. Right now I'm using this to prove I'm forgettable. That admission doesn't shame you. It disarms the gun. The dragon loses mass because authorship returned to mind. You blow a deadline. You're sure the boss is condemning you. But when you check in silence, what stings is your self-verdict. I'm a screw-up. The room didn't attack you. Your private courtroom did. Seeing that is not self-hate. It's relocating the power to choose a different witness. You watch a sensational trial. You feel clean rage at the defendant and glowing pity for the victim. Nothing wrong with compassion, but notice the convenience of the split. If they carry all the sin, you never have to meet your own gun. How could this happen to Jenny, is a good question. How did Billy's mind get built, is the forbidden one. The first keeps the theatre running. The second turns on the house lights. Guilt, fear, sin, punishment. Lived experience often feels like that order. Something happens, you feel guilty, fear rises, and punishment hovers. Under the hood, the engine runs as a template. Belief in separation, sin, births guilt. Guilt breeds fear of punishment, and the mind projects that whole package outward to keep it hidden. The course drags the template into daylight, not to accuse, but to free. If the root is an interpretation, it can be reinterpreted. If the gun is in your hand, you can lower it. But wouldn't discovering I'm the one holding the gun be good news? Yes, if you meet it with the right companion. The ego will try to spin the discovery into a death sentence. You're the killer. The cosmic judge is coming. That's why people flinch at the very thought of inwardness and run for rituals, distractions, even spiritual costumes. Better to look busy than to look honestly. But with a different companion, the quiet presence that says, I am with you in truth, the same discovery becomes relief. If it's my meaning, it isn't fate. If it's my film, I can choose another reel. So the story, plain and tight, is this. A single mind dreamt it broke from love and buried the terror of that thought. To avoid looking at the terror, it made a world and made eyes to certify the world as real. Whenever the buried panic twitches, the mind points the gun at a brother and says, there, that's the problem. Courts convene, shows get produced, ratings climb, and the inner split stays safe. But if, in a simple, ordinary moment, your friend forgets the birthday, the boss glances your way, the daughter sneaks the liquor, you pause and admit, I gave this the meaning it has. The angle shifts. The hand holding the gun is yours, which means the power to set it down is yours. You don't have to chant, posture, or punish. You just stop insisting the dragon has scales. You let smoke be smoke. And in the quiet that follows, you notice the thing you feared most, love itself, never raised a hand. That's the treasure. That's why the terrible moment is actually the turning. Not because you're exposed to wrath, but because the hiding is over. You didn't find a vengeful god in the cave. You found an unchanging love and an old prop gun that never fired.